Are we live, John?
Yes.
Well, then how about you say we're live?
All right.
I mean, fuck, man.
All right. We're live, Steve. You know.
I love you, bro. Why would you, after all the times you've been trying to stop this thing, why would you not? Why would you start a live stream when you're starting a live stream?
You told me to start it. I started it. Here we go.
Do I dare check it?
You can.
What angle are we doing here?
This is the only angle I can get you both in because we're vertical.
Just close it on, Steve. Oh yeah, we're live.
Let's see this. Oh, that's horrifying.
Why?
This is horrifying.
What do
This
you
is a
want?
horrifying angle of my.
You want me to come over here? I could come over here.
Yeah.
No problem. Come over here. How's that? Is that better?
Probably. It's probably better to shoot us from there. I already have a bigger head than him. We can't do forced perspective. He's gonna look like.
I mean, I don't know. I mean,
He look like my ventriloquist dummy.
Oh man. So we are live at least.
yeah. Yeah, we're definitely live.
Let's see what it looks like.
Take a look.
6. I'm gonna look.
All right.
Well, we're definitely live.
There's 4 people watching.
Alright.
Jesus.
So, welcome.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having a moment. I apologize. I'm having a hard time.
It's all right.
Like just like recentering myself a little bit.
I told
to
you.
be honest
I
with
told you, right?
you. You know.
Yeah,
It's a little
I feel you.
crazy.
Feel you 100% on that.
Yeah.
Sorry to everybody for the technical difficulties. We're here
Mhm.
now, and
What we did was we tried the same thing over and over and over again, but nothing changed, which was odd to me because we had tried nothing.
and Miller said something. Oh, by the way, so Anthony Spanish from the Mike Calta show. This is my good friend Miller. We've known each other for years. We used to do the Spanish Secundos together. It was a blast, some of the most fun I've had.
Good times.
It was good times. Good times.
Seamless, by the way.
It was
Seamless.
It was seamless.
We have regressed.
Yes, I don't
We have
know.
Regressed.
I don't know how
But-
that's possible.
Yeah.
But
Well, to be fair, streaming technology has gotten more challenging
yeah,
over the past 6 years. It's
you know.
much more difficult to go live now.
Mhm. I believe you said it best, Miller, when you said, 11-year-olds,
Thousands of them.
tens of thousands.
Thousands.
They just click the button.
They're live right now.
They're live right now. Who knows what they're doing?
Horizontally, probably.
Horizontally, yeah. We are vertical, and I think that's great.
It's great.
Vertical is great.
I'm in no way disappointed.
No, not even a little bit. No, but
So this is an interesting challenge, though, and I apologize for cutting you off.
no,
because-
please.
Because the goal for this conversation was
Mhm.
to talk a little bit about navigating mental health a little bit,
Stressful
and
situations.
stress and
Yeah.
anxieties and these things. And so now what we've done, which could be to Pap's credit,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
has put us into a state of extreme agitation and anxiety,
God.
and then said, "Let's see what you got."
Let's
guys."
see what you do.
Yeah.
Let's
so
see what you do.
it could be genius,
If it was
Doubtful.
planned.
but
If
it
was
could
planned.
be genius.
I'm a bit of an optimist, as I'm sure many of you know. You know this about me.
Yeah.
A lot of hope. So in my heart, I think this was exactly how it was supposed to go. And, we're here. I have my Zen cards out. The card
Can
that
I, before we get into that,
Yeah, yeah.
and I apologize.
No, please. I'm all
And I
over
know
the
that
place.
we've already addressed.
You gotta reel me in, bro.
I know we've
Oh,
already
yeah.
addressed what's happened so far, and I love your optimism.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you look at life that way. I think it's important for people to look at life that way.
Yeah.
However, I don't want this to be the way things go again.
I don't.
So it's okay that it went this way this time. It's not really okay, but we'll live with it.
Yeah.
But let's optimistically say it was the first and last time.
Yes. Yes, it was. And I believe that in my heart.
Me too.
I believe that in my heart that this was the first and last time. And thank you, Joe, for taking time out of your day to help us with this.
My pleasure.
Appreciated.
It is appreciated, and you did your best.
You
Well,
did your best.
I live with failure.
Your best wasn't good enough.
No.
No, but we're live. We're live now. It's happening.
We are still live.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Are there people watching? Or
Yes.
were we too far gone?
No. There's more people.
Would you still be watching?
I wouldn't. I'm being honest.
I would watch one of the other 17 streams that we started.
Bro.
If you're working your way through chronologically, catch up to us.
Dude, and please don't. Whatever. Yeah, I've been. It's interesting talking about situations and stress and stuff. Something I've been trying to do. I've been trying to quit smoking cigarettes.
Stop.
It's one of the last pieces of my old self I don't yet want to give up because it's the last attachment that I have to things from the past. But I have never wanted a cigarette more in my life than right at this moment. If I believed smoking inside of the house was cool, I would force a cigarette in this house. But I know that it's not the way to do it.
No, it's not. But that's a good takeaway. Takeaway one: if you run into stress or anxiety in your life, revert back to those base habits that are bad for you.
Yeah, always.
You want to go back to your comfort place.
The roots. Get into your root chakra. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's a good first lesson.
It's a good first lesson.
Not that we're giving lessons.
No, by the way, neither of us are guides, counselors.
Yeah.
We're
just
going
to be giving lessons.
Yeah. We're just purely going to speak on our experiences through life, which brings me to kind of why we have come back to do this. We fell off talking to each other, not fall out of love, but fell off talking to each other for about 6 years. I will not speak for you, but for me personally, I've always had a blast every time I talk to you.
Oh, it's always been great.
Always been great.
Sure.
You're one of the few people that when I talk to you, always I leave feeling better. You know what I mean? Or more energized. So it's good to have you back. Steven's been through some things. I've been through some things. I don't want to speak for you, so if you would like to give your story, and then I'll give mine because I don't want to go first.
You didn't want to do what we talked about doing.
Yeah. Help me out, bro. I'm frazzled at this point. You know what I mean?
It's all good.
Yeah.
So I just back in February, I finished up my second round of treatment for bladder cancer. I had stage 2 muscle invasive bladder cancer, and was diagnosed last June, and started treatment last August, and did a couple of months of chemo, and no radiation that time, and then we were hopeful that would be it, and that all the tests would come back and the cancer was gone, but it wasn't. There were still some cancerous cells there in the bladder, so I had to make a decision between having my bladder and prostate removed, or going back in for radiation and chemo. And at the end of the day, decided to keep the bladder in the hopes that the cancer won't reoccur, and had treatment again, this time at radiation and chemo, and finished that up in early February. Starting to feel really back to myself again, certainly still dealing with some side effects and everything. And through that, after I got the diagnosis, I was never worried I was going to die, because this type of cancer has a 96% survivability rate, so, but there was a window of time, and sometime I'll tell you the whole story. There was a window of time between getting initially diagnosed with, you have a tumor, and then figuring out if it had spread anywhere else. And that was a difficult time. I mean, the whole thing was very difficult, but mentally that was probably one of the hardest moments of my life, right? Because you start playing all those games, you start future tripping, right? Where it's like, well, what if it spread to here? What if it spread to there? And I was very lucky that it hadn't, and I'll have scans again in June, and I'm hopeful that those scans will come back and return that all the cancer is gone. If it's not, then we'll have to, then they'll pop the bladder out, take the bladder out at that point. So, so it's been a difficult, coming close to a year now. It's certainly been very challenging, and I think that, even a month ago, I was telling friends and people oh, I feel great. I feel really good, I'm getting back to myself, but I didn't, and I wasn't, and still dealing with, at that point, still dealing with a lot of side effects, a ton of fatigue, a bunch of other stuff, but I finally feel now, that I'm getting closer back to where I was. You know, so for me, for the past years, it's been super challenging. Obviously, physically, but then mentally, it's even the bigger challenge. And the goal is that you create these mechanisms to handle stress and adversity for when you run into those times, you know. And I think it showed me that some of the work that I'd done in the past was beneficial and good. That work being like, you know, focusing on meditation and mindfulness and things of that nature, and trying to keep a positive outlook. But then it also showed me just how much further I had to go. Mm-hmm. And I know that we wanted to start this conversation off with you sharing your story, so I won't get into it, but I went through a patch last Labor Day. It was like, I felt like I was a hair's breadth away, a whisper away from like a full-on nervous breakdown, you know. It was all so much, and I could not keep it together. Like, I remember I was at brunch with my girlfriend and just started crying. And I love brunch. Like, I thought that's a happy place for me. Bottomless mimosas, come on now. You know, of course I wasn't drinking during treatment, but like just having these breakdowns in places publicly. And so it showed me like, wow, I don't have as many tools as I think I have. And there's still a lot of growth that needs to be done. But yeah, so that's been my challenge over the past years, navigating those waters of illness, and then the challenge of the healthcare industry.
Yeah, I can imagine, and I do know that the plan was to start with my story, but I kind of we took a little break between these, and in the garage, I just kind of had this thought
between these 15 streams,
and I just had this thought of I will tell my story obviously, but I wanted people to know yours and then hear mine, because most of the people that are going to be watching already kind of know bits and pieces of mine, but I think it was a good way to illustrate how two very different stories still have the same connection. And I feel like that is something that a lot of people miss throughout their day. It's easy to poo-poo on others when you're having a bad day, because you never really know what anybody's going through, and a lot of us are going through the exact same thing. My story starts last year. I was going through a pretty bad breakup. I know that probably sounds ridiculous, but this breakup was a bit more intense than anything I'd ever experienced. Found out my girlfriend of 5 years was seeing someone that was the opposite of a cop, we'll say, and was
fireman.
Yeah. He may have sold things that cops would arrest him for. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and there was pregnancy talk, and for about 4 months, she was lying to me, and she said that her dad was sick, and she had to leave to go home because he was sick. And then it wasn't until like 3 or 4 months later that I found out that she was just seeing somebody else, and and like, this was over the holidays. So for instance, Thanksgiving, we've been together for 5 years. She's always come with me at Thanksgiving to see my family. And this year she didn't come, and she didn't even, like, my parents were asking if they were gonna hear from her. And I just broke down and told them the truth. And then I slipped. I got real sick. I had a bad allergic reaction to some antibiotics, which triggered an autoimmune response, and my entire body exploded into just. It felt like my entire body was on fire all the time. I could feel the bottoms of my feet and my palms, and everything hurt. And I was quarantined for like a month, and I tried to kill myself a couple of times. Definitely sat with a gun, in my hands and in my mouth at one point. And the only reason why I didn't do it is because my hands hurt too bad to pull the trigger. But through all of that, I feel like the best gift I was given was that experience, because the reality of what I found now, especially in moments like this, I feel the sweetness of I would have missed this.
Sure.
I would have missed this. I would have missed all these moments that now seem so much grander, because I know that it was so close, and that that door is just, steps away from opening.
Right.
If I really, let myself get there. And then, having to deal with a lot of past demons that have bubbled up with drinking, having to find a balance with that, stuff with work. So it's just been a very interesting year. It has been. It was very.
Yeah, I didn't know any of that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't know any of that. And I'm curious, in those moments when you were like that close to taking your own life, was it the physical pain that was overwhelming for you, or was it an associated mental problem? Right, like I because I would imagine that if you're in that much physical pain, then there also leads to some mental issues, mental challenges as well. But can you put a finger on what it was in that moment?
Yes, I can. It was a very, very strong voice in my head that was telling me that I was not worth anything, I wasn't deserving of anything, that this was all by chance, and that the truest thing I could do for myself was to take myself out of the picture, because somebody else deserved everything that I was taking from the world.
Mm.
So so I had to work. It was difficult. It was difficult to work through that.
Yeah.
One of the things I'll always be thankful to Joe actually is the night that I was the closest, he knocked on my door randomly and asked me if I was okay. And I was like, oh man, I gotta not do this. And then there was some stuff that happened last March, and I just gave him my handgun. I was like, I don't even want.
It's probably best for you not to have one.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good choice.
But I'm at a much more stable, better place now, and it is a lot of credited to meditation. I know this is going to sound corny, but finding God and understanding that things, at least for me, I have come to my own understanding that in my life, everything has happened for a reason that has gotten me right here. Like I was saying, I wouldn't understand the gravity of how magical this moment is if I hadn't gone through that. This would just become another Saturday. You know what I mean?
Well, I do wonder if, in a lot of aspects, it's a near-death experience, right? Now, I know that that's coming from a layperson, right? Like, obviously, but I would imagine if you're, and you hear that a lot in stories, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, I like this so much more, everything, food tastes better, et cetera, because I was, I saw the light or whatever, and I died, and they brought me back to life. So I would imagine there's some of that. But I am curious, when you talk about there being this voice, you all right?
It's hot in here, man.
You want me to turn the AC on?
Please?
Okay.
It's a good move to turn the AC off.
Well, it's quiet.
I know, but it's so hot.
But this voice that you're describing, did it sound to you like an outside voice, or was it your own mind?
Okay, so what I have felt through meditation, and I mean like sitting in a dark room for hours just by myself and just really trying to figure out, really looking inward. I feel like, are you familiar with flow state? Mm-hmm. So a lot of people describe flow state. You hear athletes talk about it all the time. They get in this flow state.
Well,
You know what I mean? And these things just kind of flow out of them, right? Well, I feel like we are merely conduits of positive or negative. And if you get into a flow state and you're in a negative mindset, the same thing happens to you, just with really terrible things. So that voice that I was hearing was me, but it was the most negative version of myself that I had given the most power to, which is why I was starting to stumble. Now, fortunately, when I get into stuff like that, the voice inside my head is very different now. It's much more positive and uplifting, and more like I just had a situation today with my mom, and sometimes she has a way. She doesn't mean to do this, but sometimes she has a way of making me feel like I'm not good enough. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So normally I'll spiral out of control and be like, oh, I'm trash. Like I can't believe any of this stuff. But today is the first time in my life where I was like, nah. Yeah, like, stop it. You know what I mean? That's right. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, like, it has nothing to do with me. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it was my voice. It was my voice in my head.
That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good because that's something that you can manage.
Yeah.
Right? Not that you can't manage exterior voices. There's certainly ways to do it, but it feels a little less challenging.
Absolutely.
If you have control of it. So one of the things that I always used to mock, all the way up into my 30s even, was the idea of daily affirmations.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Where it's like, you really have to stand in the mirror and tell yourself that you're good enough. Like, oh my God, how
I
weak,
get it.
how weak are you?
Yeah, I
That's
get it.
crazy.
I get it, yeah.
You have to tell yourself that you're deserving of love.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah, dude.
How sad for you that you don't know that you're deserving of love.
Yeah.
So when I turned 40, I quit drinking. I took, I told myself I was going to take a year off of drinking, or I would lose 50 pounds, whichever happened first. I managed to put weight on, which is pretty great testament to what my true addiction is.
Crushing it.
But I wound up quitting alcohol for 3.5 years. I came back to it, I had a different relationship with it, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, during that time, my anxiety like skyrocketed. Like I had all these issues. And that's when I started trying to search for answers, and then I, realized, through talking to people, and through reading things, doing my own research.
Careful who you say that around.
That happens, that's not unusual, right? Because that was the mechanism by which you used to control your anxiety issues. You used to self-medicate with alcohol, so you've taken that away, so now you don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
So keep going down that path, trying to figure out how to manage this stuff. And then I realized that I have an internal monologue, which is you're failing, you're falling behind, you're not doing well enough, you need to work harder. How do you let yourself get so fat? Why have you done this? Why have you done that? And over and over and over again. And that's when I realized the power of daily affirmations.
Yeah.
Because I was giving myself a daily affirmation, and I had been for decades. And that affirmation was, you're not worthy, you're failing. It was just repeating to myself all my shortcomings, which I think can be a motivator when you're aware of what you need to improve in your life. I do think that it's important to understand where you come short and to address it. However, this was a negative version of that, right? So I'm not saying I do a daily affirmation every day, but what I try to do is talk myself in a more kind manner.
Yeah.
Right? Like I would never, unless it was pap, I would never talk to somebody else the way that I'm sorry. I would never talk to somebody else the way that I was talking to me.
Yeah.
Like
I feel that.
Like I would never look at one of my friends and go,
Trash.
what an asshole.
Yeah.
God, I can't. You didn't get into another comedy festival?
Yeah.
Really? Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
You can't book that show? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, how embarrassing for you.
For me, it was you ruined another relationship, whether it be with friends, a girlfriend, a family member. You ruined another one. Way to go.
Yeah.
Still that same guy, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's I'll give you my daily affirmation.
Sure.
What's for me will be, and what's not will flee.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's helped me a lot.
My current affirmation that's going through my head right now is don't make fun of Spanish because that's a really sweet thing.
Yeah. I know. Trust me. I can feel your energy.
It's
Trust
hard.
me when I
It's
say
hard to override.
I get it. Especially, it's interesting you say that because I think that everybody is so used to me being a certain way that now that I'm not anymore, it is odd.
Of course.
Yeah, and I totally get that. Trust me when I say I'm very aware of who I am now as opposed to who I was.
Right.
And I'm aware of how stark of a contrast that is.
But I think growth is important, right?
Yeah.
Like there are times where I'm like, boy, I am nothing like I was when I was 22. And that's probably a good thing. Not probably, it's definitely a good thing. And I do have people in my life, and they're not in my life as much as they used to be or whatever, where it's like, oh, you're the same person we were in high school.
Yeah.
And I don't feel bad for them or anything. That's their life. They got to choose how they want to live their life, and it's just not where I'm at. You know? And I don't have myself. I don't have like a specific daily affirmation that I do every day.
Me neither.
And that's no judgment. I simply try to change the narrative from the negative to focusing on the positive. Just having moments of gratitude.
Yeah.
Right? Like waking up, and my practice recently, and it's newer, is it's making sure that I meditate every morning. So it's cleansing breaths, and then it's like a quick little lesson, and then it's a short meditation just to start the day off, and then it's moments of gratitude while I'm getting ready for the day.
Yeah.
Right? Like I have come through this cancer situation, and I am getting healthier. I'm in a great relationship. We're financially secure. I like the people that I'm working with right now, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just trying to remind myself.
Absolutely.
As opposed to all the things that I don't have, which is what I always focused on, right? And so although I don't have a specific, daily affirmations, it's taking those steps in the morning, to reflect, to slow down, to meditate, but then also have those moments of gratitude.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's the gratitude stuff. They say even when it comes to meditation, starting in a position of gratitude even before you meditate, the science behind it, it literally changes your connection of your heart to your brain. They've been studying this for the past decade, and in everybody that they study, when a person meditates, it syncs up their heart wave, their electromagnetic heart wave, to their electromagnetic brain wave. And the people that don't have gratitude or are not in a state of gratitude, it's out of sync. And that causes a lot of anxiety, stress, and physical issues, which I don't know how much you believe, which, again, a year ago, I never used to believe any of this stuff. That's why I was asking you a little bit earlier about quantum science, because a lot of this new data comes from the quantum research that they're doing, and the new computers that they have can detect minute changes in people's inner workings, inner electromagnetivity that we've never been able to see before. And through that, a lot of what the spiritual teachings have been for eons are coming to light as not being so hokey after all.
Sure.
Which, again, like I said, a year ago, I didn't believe any of this. You know what I mean? I was not this. You knew
Yeah,
I
no,
was.
for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
So it's like when I was in my mid-20s, I started going for a brief period of time to these Buddhist classes, right? Just a teaching series that was here in St. Pete. And one of the things that really resonated with me was the teacher saying, this practice is a medicine. Take from it what benefits you. If you don't believe in reincarnation, if you don't believe in chakras, if you don't believe this and that, that's okay. But if this stuff, the meditation, if the mindfulness, if these things help you, then just take that and focus on that. So, and that has always impacted me, and that's sort of why I've stayed with the practice, or attempted to, for so much of my life, because what you're saying right now makes sense to me. I understand it, but it doesn't resonate with me
Absolutely.
personally.
Yeah.
But what I do know is that people have been doing this forever, literally almost forever.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it realigns the electromagnetism between the brain and the heart. I don't say that to make fun of you.
No,
I don't. But
you
I
can
don't
make fun of me all you want, Steve. I don't mind.
Well, we did have a discussion where it's like, the attempt is to have fun and enjoy this and have it be enjoyable.
Gotta poke fun
but
at
also
once
not
in a
to,
while.
also not to tear each other
Yeah.
down necessarily, unnecessarily. Excuse me. But I do believe that there's benefits to mindfulness and meditation. I don't know if I believe that part of it, but that's okay. That doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
This is what matters. You used to have a gun in your mouth,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And a knock on the door, baby saved your life, right? So if it helps you,
Yeah.
then great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Then really, who cares? Because the alternative is what? Misery, anxiety, depression, suicide?
Yeah.
Very
And
cool.
what's even
But at least I didn't get made fun of.
Hey!
At least nobody called me a pussy.
I can't hear you now.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
How's your electromagnetism? It's all over the wall.
There. And what's even crazier to your point of what you get what you want out of the medicine is when I started feeling gratitude for what I did have, this crazy thing happened, and I had so while I was sick and while I wasn't on the show, I had refused to go through my messages because I was like, it's just not going to help. Like, I'm so used to everything just being so negative. Like, I was like, there's no way I can handle this. Then I started to feel a little better, and I started experiencing gratitude, and I was like, I'm just gonna do it. And I dove in, and the craziest thing happened is almost every single message was just a message of love and hope, and I was like, the universe has been trying to show me that I have been deserving this entire time.
Absolutely.
I just didn't want to see it.
Yeah.
And then when I opened my heart up to it, it was like this explosion of life happened now, and that's when I started to feel like I am deserving of it. And now, in moments like this, or when I'm at work, or even when I'm just chilling on the pier, which everybody makes fun of me for watching the sunrise, those moments are like, it's magic, man. Like, I almost missed this.
Of
you know
course
what I
it's
mean?
magic. Of course, like, I love the fact that it's something universal.
Hey.
Like, something universal, like watching
I was on my own
sunrise,
path, bro.
like sunrise or a sunset is like,
Yeah.
What's wrong with you, bro?
You know what I mean? I love them.
What's wrong with you?
I love them so much.
Why would you take a moment to slow down and watch like beautiful natural phenomena
Right?
happen?
I'm gonna say this live because I want it to be on record. I have a 2-person hammock, Steven. I'd love you to join me in it.
Oh no.
Oh, I'm 2 people?
No,
So
no,
I'm gonna,
you
no,
and
no,
me.
no, no. I'm gonna need your hammock to be a 3-person hammock.
I will get a
Because
3-person
I'm
hammock.
2 people.
I will get us a 3-person. I'm gonna get us a 4-person hammock.
That to be safe, that'd be a good
all
thing.
right, yeah. Because I would love for you
Yeah.
to come with me to watch the sunrise. I can only do it on Saturdays and Sundays, obviously.
Sure.
So I'm going to be out on the St. Pete Pier tomorrow if you want to join me.
Yeah,
I know
it's
it's a
not
bit of a
gonna
drive.
happen
I know,
tomorrow.
yeah, I figured.
It won't happen tomorrow, but it will happen.
Yeah, I would love that. I
Yeah.
would absolutely love that. But yeah, to your point, gratitude is crazy, and it opened me up to a whole new world. And I don't want to get too much into like my spirituality practices because I know it's not. A lot of people think it's crazy, and I don't ever want to come off sounding crazy or preachy. So I usually don't say anything unless people ask, and then I'll give them my 2 cents. Again, I am not a guide or a counselor whatsoever. More people have been asking me for advice in their situation since I talked openly. I don't know, like I can only tell you based on my experience, and that's it.
So this is what I believe, right? Not about spirituality, but anytime somebody starts making changes in their life and they start, whatever it is, you know, and they start getting happier, healthier, whatever the case may be, there's always going to be, and you start sharing that, there's always going to be people that reach out because everybody wants an answer for something. That's the whole motivational speaking industry. That's the whole beauty industry. That's the whole mental health industry. That's all of it because everybody's searching for something, you know, like if I were to drop 100 pounds over the course of the next year, there would be, and I shared that journey, there would be lots of people that reach out, how'd you do it? You know, there just is, people want answers for things, or just not even out of curiosity, you know, because if you could see somebody moving from unhappy to happy, you know, and you yourself are unhappy, well, how did you get there?
Yeah.
You know, how did you get to that point? Years ago, I was listening to an interview about a church, and I don't remember the name of the church or the location, whatever. This is more than 10 years ago. And it was at a time, and that time still is true today, where there's less and less Christians in this country, right? Less and less people who actively go to church around. But there was one specific church that within their community was growing rapidly. And they interviewed the guy, and his whole premise was, we don't, and I know this goes against a lot of Christian doctrine, whatever, was we don't go around and knock on doors, we don't go around and preach the gospel, we don't to non-believers, whatever. We simply live the best life that we can, and we try to be as fulfilled and happy as we can, and participate in our community, and build community, and show that joy, and then when people see that, they ask, what are you doing? Because I want some of that, right? Like I need a little bit of that, what are you doing? So it makes sense to me that as you go through this and as you share it publicly, the more that you share it publicly, people are going to come to you. They are going to have that conversation. There's nothing wrong with sharing what you believe. You know, there's nothing wrong with putting that out there. It's you get into dicey water when you get a compound.
I know.
You know, that's when things get a little weird.
My dream is crumbling before my eyes.
Compound is end goal for you?
I mean.
But I think that it's good to have the conversation. It's good to
Yeah, so do I.
to share it because you know it matters.
I you know, I was just living my life, and like most people do, I never thought about what other people were going through. I mean, I understood that everybody goes through things,
Sure, of course.
but you know, now that I'm hearing from people, I've always felt like I was compassionate and empathetic before this, but I gotta tell you, bro, some people's story just breaks my heart, man.
Sure.
And I just want to like reach through my phone and give them a hug, because people, they have, what the most heartbreaking thing is the people that have convinced themselves they deserve a bad lot because of things that have happened.
And things they've done, but I deserve this because I've done this, this, and this.
And I felt like that for a long time. I'm sure you remember me in my 20s.
Sure.
Was not the best human being to people, and it took me a long time to forgive myself for that. And something that I've said recently, something that my ex-girlfriend actually taught me, Karen, who was, you know, all that stuff happened, is she taught me how to love people for who they are, not what they've done. And the only way I'm even able to extend that outward is because I had to do it to me first.
Of course.
And it was a very hard thing to do, to look at myself honestly and go through my list and just say, I'm not bad because I've done these things, because today I can make a choice not to be that anymore.
Right.
And just stepping into that has helped me understand that I can love others for who they are, not what they've done, because everybody makes mistakes, everybody does bad things. So there's no reason to hold on to that. And if I guess, yeah, you're right. If I can help, I do love helping people. So if I can help anybody, so be it. I just know because of who I was, even just a couple months ago to now, it just comes off a little crazy.
Of course.
Yeah.
For sure.
Which,
yeah, and that's look, people fear change. We hate change. Whether it's a human or a job or the weather, whatever it is, we don't like it. We fight against it. And when our mind's in conflict like that, we start lashing out. We get angry. I don't want it. I don't want it to be different. And it is difficult and challenging for people around us, especially when the transformation happens so quickly.
Yeah.
And look, I'm not going to say it's not weird for me to sit next to you wearing all those beads.
Mm-hmm.
That seems odd to me, but if it makes you happy, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
I mean, really, at the end of the day, that's what matters.
Yeah.
If it doesn't bother me, yes, I'm tempted to mock you for that.
Of course.
Yes.
You can mock me. I don't mind.
But it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's making you happy. And and you and I talked about this a little bit earlier, where it's like, even if 6 months from now, you're experiencing something else, you're seeking something else, or you're finding some different way to find happiness, that doesn't negate this moment.
I agree.
Because in this moment, all you're doing right now is you're seeking. You're trying to find answers. And you see that happen to a lot of people that go down a spiritual path, right? Where it's like, oh, I'm really into Buddhism. Oh, now the Hare Krishnas look super interesting to me. Oh, now I'm really just into psychedelics. Now Hinduism, Sufism, all these different things.
You know Sufis, huh?
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're one of my favorites.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah.
Because you're looking for an answer,
Mm-hmm.
and there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing wrong with, I'm trying to fix me. That's
Yeah.
it. That's
Well,
all I'm trying to do.
I've discovered, so my only piece about that, what I've discovered on my own journey path, whatever you want to call it, that to try to fix who I am was only leading me down the wrong path. What you said is the truth, is seeking the answers is the only truth I'm interested in.
Sure.
And I understand that for me, like you said, you get what you put out. So there's an answer for me in each one of those avenues. Why it would be a great disservice to myself to stay stuck in one way when there's so much more to life than just being the same person every day, day in and day out, and expecting different things to happen for me. If I wanted to be the same kid and I wanted to keep, drinking till I black out, not treating women properly, just being a fornicator and all that kind of stuff, being a bang. I'm trying to be. I know it's on YouTube. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Really
I don't know what I can say because we're on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Like wanting to bang a bunch of broads.
Oh, you fornicators, take notice.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Doing all the drugs, not caring about my health, and expecting to find a different partner and a different type of relationship, expecting to elevate my job, expecting to learn new skills and get into different avenues of creativity is crazy to me now to think that, because now it's like, how could I have expected that?
Because you have hindsight. You have some distance from the moment too, and look, cliches are cliches for a reason. There tends to be some truth to them, right? So what's the definition of insanity? Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
But it's like the start of this moment, the start of this stream at 5 o'clock is a perfect example of what you just talked about. We're going to try the same thing over and over and over and over, and then we go, I can't believe this isn't working. We've done the same thing over and over and over. So it's like it's a microcosm of the greater thing you're talking about. But it is like
It's all connected.
yeah, but it's it's about growth and it's change and and you're talking about putting things out there and some of the most successful people that I've known that have gone through any 12-step program, whether it's AA or NA, they tend to embrace that acts of service.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's like really giving back to the community. Like one of my best friends, I think he's just past 5 years sober, and couldn't be happier for him. And his life is just so different, and he's really excelling in every avenue, professionally, personally, etc. but that's a big part of what he does is he stays constantly involved, he's constantly giving back. So I do think that in some way, having conversations like this could speak to that. And all this sounds very self-aggrandizing. It's not intended to be.
Well, I am now going to inject some real spirituality on you, right? So when you start to research, as I'm sure you know, Buddhism and all this stuff, they talk about a oneness. We're all connected.
Mm-hmm.
So it becomes that the acts of service that you're doing for others are helping you just as much as they're helping them because you are connected. So to your point, when you start really doing acts of service for no egotistical value, a world opens up, and all of a sudden, you're feeling gratitude. Dude, I was never this type of guy, but I sat in that garden the other day and was just watching bees, and and a bee got hit by a bird and fell to the ground. I'm not a big bee fan, I've never been a big bee fan, but all of a sudden I was
personally huge bee fan.
Dude, and I was like scooping it up and trying to like help it, and in the middle of doing this, I was like, what am I doing, bro? Like, who have I become? Like, what is this? But it felt good. It felt good.
Yeah. See suffering in the world and you're trying to alleviate it.
Yeah,
that's all.
It's wild. It's wild because I used to just want to get smashed and bang a girl out at a bar.
Yeah, but
and I was like, I have no, that's not my.
But you're doing all those things to cover up for a pain. Mm-hmm. That's what all that's about.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm not saying everybody that drinks does that. I'm not saying everybody that goes out and does that.
Gotta find a balance.
That's not what I mean. But you're here at this point because those other things didn't work for you.
Yeah. Yeah, they were killing me.
Yeah, there are plenty of people that can drink all through their 20s, that can fornicate.
Fornicators!
All through their 20s, that don't need to then practice self-care and focus on introspection. These things, there's it's not a one-to-one, but for a lot of people it is.
Yeah.
It's self-medicating. It's distraction.
It is a big distraction.
It's, life is suffering, and it's coming to grips with how to suffering and attachment, and you have to come to grips with that's a reality of life, and you have to figure out how to navigate that in healthy ways.
And I believe, for me, that I found the healthiest way for me was to look for the lessons in each piece of the suffering. And when I started to do that, like when I wanted to kill myself, it wasn't until I really sat down and thought, okay, why am I here right now? Like, what did I do to myself that got me into this situation? And it wasn't until I started understanding that I needed to suffer because that was the only way that I could get pushed out of my old shell and into something new. That was the only way it was going to happen for me personally. Right. I've never been the type of person that can hear somebody else's experience and just learn from that. I've always had to go through it myself.
You had to find your rock bottom. For a lot of people, that is what it takes.
Yeah.
You had to get to that point.
Can I interrupt you for 1 minute and say something to the people? Joe, if you want to comment or leave a question for us, please do. We have our best IT guy, Joe, is on it right now. So otherwise, if you don't mind, I would like you to pick. Do you know how long we've been doing this for, by any chance, Joe?
Yes, we are 43 minutes in.
That's too long.
Perfect. Do you want to pick a card now?
I do.
We were supposed to do this at the beginning.
I do.
What do you got? What are you thinking?
At some point, we have to talk about what we see this thing being, right?
Well, let me ask you, what do you see it being?
I don't know yet.
All right, I like that
To be
answer.
perfectly honest with you, I don't know yet. But I like the idea of leaning into more specifically what we're each doing to navigate life. And because for me, it's even prior to cancer, I have anxiety and panic disorder, struggle with depression, and have for the majority of my adult life. So for me, it would be nice to come on here and talk about specifics.
Okay.
Right? Like here's this thing that I'm doing. Or here's this thing that I read about. And like I love having these amorphous sort of conversations. I think they're great. I don't think people watch that. You know what I mean? So like, the goal for me would be like, actually like bringing people on to talk to them about it. Like, whether it's a meditation teacher, whether it's a sound healer, a massage therapist, whatever the case may be.
A massage therapist, he says.
Yeah. And
Fornicator. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. I should.
but something along those lines. So I don't know what the answer is like, but it's
Hey, they're all the answer.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it. I like that. I very much endorse that. I would like little pieces of that. Bigger picture for me, besides the specifics, I would like this to be a place people can go to look at an example of how to enjoy the passing of time while dealing with suffering, stress, pain, because I feel like people deserve that. People deserve to enjoy the passing of time regardless of what they're going through.
Sure.
Things are going to be good, things are going to be bad, but we're all alive at the same time, and we could all help each other in some way. And I would love to get that massage therapist on the show. Any out there, hit me up. So with that being said, may I just...
Last thing
okay,
before the
please,
cards.
please,
I'm
please,
sorry,
please.
you
No,
tried to
I'm
get the cards.
very excited for the cards.
Yeah, but I figure that's why we wrap up.
Absolutely.
Right? I don't know what this stream is called currently.
Oh yeah, thank you for this.
I think we tried to call one Spiritual Sanctuary 69.
Yeah, for Cancer, 69 is a Cancer sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I just
no
ended it
offense.
with spiritual sanctuary. I did not
Okay.
put the
Oh,
69.
that's mine. I'm a
I
personal
didn't. I'm
person.
sorry. I didn't know.
And you don't listen.
I know. I don't listen.
And I just want to say to anybody that wants to laugh at that, because I did, the original idea was Sad Losers Club.
Yeah.
So somehow Spiritual Sanctuary 69 is an improvement.
They
I
are.
what it's going to be called, because I don't think any of this shit is sad. I don't think any of this stuff makes you a loser. I think, and I'm not like, oh, I'm offended by the name of it.
No.
I just, we were talking about it, like the first stream that we tried to start, and they were like, let's call it the Sad Losers Club. And I'm like, I'm not going to sit on a stream called the Sad Losers Club.
Yeah, we're not sad, we're not losers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so.
We shouldn't have to say that, by the way. We're not
I like
losers.
saying it. I like saying it. I say it every morning in the mirror. You dope, son.
I like that more than, no, I don't.
No, yeah, I knew you wouldn't. I knew
Okay.
you didn't. All right, so now,
Dope, son, let's draw a card.
man, okay. Before we do this,
Okay.
so these are my Zen cards. They're very simple. They each have a theme. So like, this theme would be humility. I'm gonna throw this card away because I already picked it up. But we're gonna read it and then talk a little bit. Expound, I believe, is the word
is the
about
word.
each card. That is the correct word.
Yeah.
You boys learning, son. All right, Miller, please, you do the honors. The first card. All right. I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm like this. I don't know why I'm like
That's
this.
the
dude.
goal of this is to
I
figure
am.
out why
I'm
you're
sorry.
like this.
I'm sorry.
Community.
Community, hey! Is that a coincidence? I think not.
Yeah, but I do think that no matter any of these we pulled, it
Stop!
would
Don't
have
do
been
that.
germane
Don't
to
do
what we were
that.
talking
Don't,
about.
that's
to be
not.
fair.
Don't do that. This is
Um,
perfect.
Understand that you will be like those with whom you surround yourself. Your environment is stronger than you are. So this is like that whole be careful who you
Perfect.
hang out with.
But not only that, so it is be careful who you hang out with. And for those of you who believe in energy, I don't know if you do or not, I'm a big believer in energy. None of it gets lost or destroyed, simply changed. When you burn wood, wood is still there, it just changes into smoke, but the particles and the elements are all still there. So, that being said, if you are sensitive to energy, you want to surround yourself with people that enhance or lift up your energy. Obviously, that's not a big brain idea there. But your environment sometimes you can't change. And if you're in a situation where you feel like you can't change your environment, don't be afraid to reach out for help to someone that can change your environment. In my experience, especially recently, when you are looking to change something about yourself, whether it be an inner demon or your environment, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, has a way of putting people in place that can help you quite easily get through some of those things. You, for instance, the last time you were here, I was having some issues that you didn't know about, and we had a conversation, and you were able to move me from a place of, I don't want to say this, you moved me from a place of self-doubt and anger to love and acceptance. And that is strictly because I had asked you your opinion. If I wouldn't have asked you your opinion, I never would have gotten that result. So I think that's kind of what I'm feeling for, is that, unless you're looking for it, you will not find. So don't be afraid to look for it and ask.
Yeah, I think that, one of the things that you touched on when you were sick, and then you started reading comments again and you were surprised by how many were positive. which is very sad, by the way, that you're surprised by that, but I understand why. Social media is what social media is. I touched on this at the start of the stream, the challenge that I was facing mentally last year, especially around Labor Day. Right after that, I lost my job. The company closed, which means I lost my insurance. You know, when you're going through cancer treatments, not having insurance, not having income, becomes incredibly overwhelming. You know, without asking, without prompting, my friends put together a fundraising stand-up show at Side Splitters. A bunch of comics donated their time. Really great comics.
Not better.
It doesn't matter. No, of course not. Not that it matters, you know, whether they're good or not. But you know, and the outpouring of support, and then another friend of mine started a GoFundMe, which is those are two things that I never, in a million years, would have done. No, I should say in a million years. That I'm very uncomfortable with. That I'm still, to a certain extent, uncomfortable with. In fact, when I found out all this happened, because sort of happened at the same time, I was very angry. I was very angry at, not very, but I was angry at my friends for doing this. But then you take a look at yourself, and it's because you don't feel worthy, you don't feel, you know, like you should have this and whatever. But the universe, this weird thing, stepped in through my friends and through my community, stepped in and supported me at a time when I needed it more than I probably ever have in my life. And it made me realize how much love was surrounding me and how much community there was there. And it just made everything easier because I sort of retreated back into a shell, you know, through this cancer diagnosis. And not that people weren't reaching out, people were great prior to that as well. So it's so important. We are social animals, you know, and we have to surround ourselves with these things, with positive things, with positive people. And I'm forever grateful for the outpouring of support that still continues to happen. It's made all this for me way more manageable. Like I touched on earlier when I was talking about my gratitude of being financially secure with my family. That's due to the charity people. That's due to their support. That certainly would not be the case without them. It would be rough, put it mildly. So I'll be eternally grateful for that. But I also think it's an important thing because I look back, we talk about looking back into our 20s, and I had friends that I still love and still care about. Like I remember telling one of them, instead of going to the bar this weekend, why don't we go to the museum? You know, and just immediately was like, why? No, why would we go? What's wrong with you? You know, neither of us had girlfriends. Neither of us had anything going on. It's like, why don't we go do something that's just not drinking? And it was just immediately like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
what's wrong with you? You know.
That.
So
I love museums. I'll go with you anytime.
Yeah, and you know, not that I don't love. I love going to bars. I
know,
drink.
I get
I
it,
like,
I get
you know,
it,
but I like having some balance in my life. But it's like you sort of realize that you have to. Like it's sad that I have friends that I can't be, that I don't feel like I can be honest with because they're just not interested in talking about this, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's also, it's just what the point I'm trying to get to is it's important to surround yourself with people with whom you can be your authentic self, no matter what that is. And if your authentic self is simply, I don't want to go to the museum, I want to go to the bar, everything's great, I'm killing it at life, good for you.
For real.
Enjoy it. You know, have a great time. You know, so but it's community is sort of everything.
I agree.
And all of these are going to be everything.
Well, yeah, they will be, and like I said, you know, it's interesting because it touches on the oneness of us all as well, which
Sure.
I'm a big fan of that because, you know, just recently things kind of have had a funny way of panning out in my favor, and it always happens after I've helped somebody else. Always, yeah. Especially now, it's wild how it works. Like I said, I don't know. I never used to be a big believer in God until recently. I've always believed in the universe. But it's just funny, like you said, how some of these things, they just seem to solve themselves when you just kind of let go and let others help.
Let go and let God. Let go and let God.
Let Jesus take that wheel, fornicators.
I think this will be, for however long we do this, if we even ever do it again.
Who knows if we'll be live again.
This will probably be one of the biggest differences between you and me.
Yeah, I get that.
I do believe that helping people helps you,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I do believe that we are all interconnected,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't believe it's because of God, or I don't believe it's because of energy, or I don't believe, and
That's
there's nothing wrong with that.
Dude, listen.
But I just, for me, it's the reality that if my friend Joe is suffering, then, and I can make his life better, then if his life is better, that'll spread out.
Yeah.
It just is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Like, for example, I don't want to get political, but if everybody in the country is doing better and is more secure financially, through healthcare, through whatever the case may be, then the country itself will be a healthier, happier place.
Yeah.
I think a lot of this stuff comes down to fear and insecurity, you know, a lot of the political divides and everything, and we're not getting into politics, but I just think that it's just a matter of, it's like what you call energy, which is fine, I just call reality, you know.
Well, it's the same thing.
Yeah, well, no,
Yeah.
because I don't believe it's a divine being given to it, but that's not the point of this, isn't to debate, you know.
We're gonna have some good debates.
Yeah, I just think that this is one of those moments where take from whatever the medicine you take, whatever helps you, take it.
You got two sides of the same coin, ladies and gentlemen. I love
I
I
love
love this guy. But yeah, no, I am glad that I love that you are not the same as me, obviously, and I do love. One of the things I've always loved about you is I was saying this to him earlier. I'm very easily excitable, and I have a lot of optimism.
Oh, you're an excitable boy.
And hope, yeah. And
Excitable boy.
Miller has always done. You've always done a great job of reeling me in, but in the most loving and non-abrasive way. Does that make sense?
It does, and I appreciate it. It's a great compliment. I just want to say something that I don't mean to be negative, but do you know how excitable you have to be for me to be the grounding force?
Yeah, yeah, very excitable. I love, dude. I love. It's worse now than it was. It's worse now. Since I've had that gun in my mouth, I'm very excited about so much. Yeah, sometimes I'll get in the car and I'm like, I'm about to drive a combustible engine and I'm gonna go 80 miles an hour where it's legal, and I'm gonna be just with the windows down. Like, I get so excited. Are
All
you
these
kidding me?
man-made materials on top of the road.
Yes, yes. Let this
history is created.
asphalt hit my face
Yeah.
as I have these windows down. Yeah, dude. I mean, I got a lot to be thankful for.
By the way, I do want to say, and you don't have to do this if you don't want to, I think you just named whatever this is since I had this gun in my mouth. I think that's the end of the series.
I'm going to tell
it's
the story.
dark. It's dark, but I think
I'm going to
it's
tell
a good name.
a story as to why I can't do that. So when I first had this idea, I was sitting right here with Joe, and I had a Nerf gun, right? And he said the name of this should be Guru with the gun in his mouth.
Oh.
And I was like, damn, I don't think the universe would like that. And I shot the window with the Nerf gun, and it bounced off the window and hit Joe square in the fucking head. Square in the head. And I was like, you know what? We ain't calling it that. We're not gonna call it that.
I like that because you say that that's energy of the universe, and I say it's geometry. But that's okay.
Geometry.
We're both right.
Hey, man. Thank you. It's the same exact thing. Just depends on how you look at it. Which is why I appreciate your lens, because sometimes, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
I got you, bro.
And every once in a while, I'm gonna be lifting you up.
Ooh.
Put that helium in your pants.
Get that back straight, son. Lift with your knees, dog. Lift with your knees.
So I do want to say I'm springing this on you, by the way.
Okay.
There are some things I would like to take the show on the road, also for some things.
Okay.
Don't worry, I'm not going to say what you think I'm going to say. I'm not going to say
I
it.
just don't know if this
I'm
is
not
a
going to
show,
say it.
but-
Well, whatever this is.
Yeah.
Whatever this is. I do want to take you to a sensory deprivation tank. I know you've done it before,
Yeah, sure.
but I would like to do one with you, and then come and do this afterwards and talk about
That'd
it.
be cool.
There's
You want to do one from the tank?
You
Can't see anything.
You have no idea how badly I do. You have no idea. how
Really
badly
dark
I
in
do.
here.
It's
Really dark in here.
I can't feel anything. But there are some other. For right now, I'll just call them some spiritual awakening experiences that they have in St. Pete. Like you said, there's a big spiritual community out here in St. Pete, and there are some things I would like to take you with me to go on this journey. Okay, now that I have your permission, all right, then I'll start planning.
Yeah, like I'm down for something like that. Like we could go to the Florida Mindfulness Center and take a class, and then come back and discuss it. Sensory deprivation takes, sound healing class, whatever. You're like, I think that's cool.
The only thing I won't be putting us through is hot yoga and yoga. You know, I'm not a big. I hate hot yoga.
No,
bro.
so that's good. It's important to do things that you don't want to do on this journey.
Ugh.
It's important to stay in your comfort zone and not do things you don't want to do.
See what I'm
I
saying?
think that's the
See
point.
what I mean with this?
That's the point of self-exploration.
Like,
always stay in your comfort zone.
You know, you do have the best way of just. All right, so we're gonna be doing hot yoga next Saturday.
Dude, do you think I want to do hot yoga?
You coming with me, bro?
You think I could do
That's why I said we're not doing it. I can't do it. I can't do it. The last time I did hot yoga, I almost passed out. And I was like, Nobody's getting water? Nobody's gonna drink water? Okay.
I've never done hot yoga because it's important for a man to know his limitations.
So we're not going out of our comfort zone. Any questions, by the way, Joe? Can you read anything?
Well, let's see. Are you guys gonna spark one up or what?
Yeah, that's a reasonable question.
Thank you for reading that.
Let's see. No.
Let's just leave it.
Not so much right here.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Thank you for your.
Yeah. Someone wants you to do a tarot reading on them.
Yeah, I'll do a tarot reading on you. Yeah, there's a lot about me you don't know yet.
All right, I look forward to.
Told you.
Look forward to finding
It's
this.
been a wild path. Yeah.
Maybe next time you do a tarot reading on me.
No. So I won't do it on here.
Okay.
To me, it's not a joke. But
Yeah.
well, I just know that if I do it on here, not you will think it's a joke, but you know.
Yeah. That is the trouble with me being a comedian and you being on a comedy show.
I know. Yeah. Well, like, I have no problem doing a tarot reading on you, and then you could bust my balls after on here.
Yeah.
But if doing it to you, I don't want to disrespect that process.
You don't
But I
disrespect
don't have any problem doing it, and then we go live immediately after, and you being like, you'll never believe this.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
All right, I respect it.
Please know, I mean this genuinely. I have no problem with you making fun of me, anybody making fun of me. But there are certain things when it comes to like tarot readings and all that stuff that like I said, I respect the.
Dude, I get it.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't sit in a room with a Christian person and talk about how lame Jesus is.
Right?
It's just unnecessary.
Yeah.
I would.
That's-
I'm joking. I'll continue to do it. No, but I think you and I talked about this. We haven't. It's obvious to anybody watching this. We have not done a ton of prep. We haven't had a ton of discussions of what this is or what it's going to be. It's something that we sort of decided to let happen organically. But the one thing that we agreed on was there's no reason why it can't be fun.
That's
there's no
right.
reason why it can't be funny.
Yep.
Who knows if this was or wasn't? I'm sure you'll find out.
You'll
on
tell
Monday.
us. Yeah.
Just how bad it was. But the goal shouldn't be to make fun of each other.
Yeah, I agree.
The goal shouldn't
I
be,
agree.
the goal should be to have fun and enjoy it, but to not. What's the point of?
Yeah.
What's the point of me being sitting here and you going, I really find a lot of solace in crystals, and me going, what an asshole! This guy likes crystals. What an asshole! Next topic.
Yeah, that would
No
hurt.
value in that. Not that
Yeah.
there's any value in this, but
Well, there is value in this, and there's value in you, Stephen.
it's just difficult to. I have to be a little self-deprecating with these things.
I know, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. It's hard not to, right?
Yeah,
It is hard not to. But yeah, I would love to do a tarot reading on you, bro.
I'm into it.
Yeah. Like I said, we're going to be doing a lot more of that. I know a medium that we'll be talking to.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Because I know you will be much more of a cynic than I will, and I'm looking forward to diving into it with your lens as opposed to mine, because I have a strong feeling you're gonna say some things that are gonna make me go, oh no!
Well, have you ever been to Casadega?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I have.
So
yes, I have.
Casadega is this town just outside of Orlando. It's a big spiritual New Age community. I've gone there a couple times. It's a neat experience. And I had a reading with a medium.
How'd it go?
I walked out of there thinking, that lady's bananas. She's bananas, and she couldn't have been more wrong about everything. But as time went by, she turned out to be right about a couple things.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll talk about this some other time.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's right about things because I'm looking back and trying to make things fit into a box. Right? Like where it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
or
okay,
if she legitimately was. But that's a whole conversation.
Yeah. And for next time, thank you very much
Yeah,
for joining me. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day. Joe, thank you very much for taking time out of your Saturday.
Anytime.
Everybody watching, thank you very much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this for whatever it was. I had a blast.
I had fun. So it was great talking.
So I love you. If you want to follow me for Steve Miller 813 on Instagram. Spanish_EP on Instagram, or Spiritual Sanctuary 69 on Instagram. It's for my zodiac sign, all right?
I know that you're saying that.
I mean, I have a sense of humor still. I'm not totally dead inside. But yeah, I'm sure we'll be doing these again. And like, comment, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Let Mike know if you like this or if you don't like it. And like you said, I'm sure we'll be hearing about this on Monday.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. Have a good one. Turn it off, man.
Can't stop it.
You
Can't
can't- you
start it.